everybody, thanks for checking out the Furloughed Film Talks YouTube channel.
For reviews, news, and the audio version of our podcast, please check out our website, furloughedfilmtalks.net.
And be sure to check out all the social links below and also hit that subscribe button, guys.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Alex Kelly with the Furloughed Film Talks, the podcast. Back here with Ryan.
Hey guys.
So we are excited to talk about the movie End of Sentence, starring John Hawkes, Logan Lerman, Sarah Bolger, directed by Elfar Adelstein.
Yep.
We are actually going to be having an interview with Elfar just here in a little bit, but first we are going to do a spoiler-free talk of the movie. So
a quick little dirty review of it.
Dirty 30 review.
Dirty.
What is an absolutely amazing movie.
Great movie, yeah. So you want to go ahead and give our Jindo Head review real quick?
What did you say for your Jindo Head? I think I did 4.75 Jindo Heads.
I did 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
4.75.
I mean, like, this
0.25 gets taken off for there's no way a convict has a passport, but
yeah. I mean, possibly. But,
maybe.
Yeah, like, if a 5 is a perfect movie, like, yeah, this is definitely a 4.5. It's really good.
So set the scene of what the movie is about. And if anybody is interested in watching the movie, it comes out Friday on iTunes and Amazon, so definitely check it out.
Yeah, definitely get this one. So this might be a little hard without
spoiling the entire movie.
Yeah, spoiling it, just because so much of the storyline is like really vague until the movie's well into like the 45-minute mark. But I'll do my best here.
Sorry.
So the story is that Logan Lerman's character is getting out of prison. He's had a long streak of
being a rebel,
being an auto theft, personal theft, assault, all sorts of bad shit.
Yeah. And then he tries to steal a car when he gets out of jail.
Well, we'll get to that.
That's not a spoiler.
We'll get to that. And he so he's in jail. His mother is dying of cancer, and she does eventually succumb to the cancer
within weeks.
Right. She visits him, and then they say their last goodbyes, and within weeks she has passed away, and then he is released from prison. And her dying wish was for her son and her husband to take her ashes over to Ireland to spread them in one of the lakes over there. So it's
one of the hundreds of lakes that they make abundantly clear. There's a ton of lakes.
Yeah, they've referenced several times how many lakes are in Ireland. Apparently tens of thousands.
Go check out.
Which I'm pretty sure you guys are talking about ponds. Okay,
whatever. But dude, they can call it whatever they want.
They can. Yeah, it is gorgeous. So that's the story. They go over to Ireland, and
Logan Lerman plays the son, John Hawkes plays his dad, and Sarah Bolger plays the love interest that they meet in Ireland.
Yes.
So John Hawkes, let's just get this thing out of the way.
Just
amazing.
Probably the kind of pinnacle of his career right now. Like outstanding performance by John Hawkes.
Like, hopefully this is something that people take notice of. He played a bad guy in Peanut Butter Falcon last year, which was kind of a detour of what he usually does. But then he does something like this that's kind of closer to what he's known for, but he still takes it in a way that just completely exceeds all expectations.
Yeah, it was really cool because, like, again, I don't want to talk about spoilers, but he has a transition of attitude and almost like a change in his very core and being over the course of the movie.
Well, I don't even know if it's just like a change of core, but more like
I think so. I think it is. I think it's
again,
like we can talk about that.
I think it's an understanding of like maybe I need to do things a little bit differently. And
I don't think so. Like, I think the way he changed himself or like allowed Logan Lerman's character to kind of guide him.
Yeah.
I think he like fundamentally changed, and like, you know,
okay,
in a fundamental way, like he's changed. He is a new person for the rest of his life now, right?
True. No, you are correct there. Yeah. But like for what you said earlier about how it takes a little while to kind of develop or get into the story.
Not to say that it's boring. It just
No.
the story, like they intentionally slow rolled information to you,
Which is the best part, because all of a sudden you're just getting kind of morsels of information of this is why this stuff is happening, and then they just hit you over the head with like the very, very big pieces of information.
Yeah, like
that come
very
out
suddenly,
of left field. That's just like, holy shit!
and always like in a super dramatic fashion.
Yeah, so
like
that's like that part of it. Like some people will find this movie slow.
I'm sure,
but
yeah.
if you just, and it's not a long movie. It's an hour and a half movie. So
and it goes by like that.
Yeah.
Like,
so if you can watch the first 20, 30 minutes and then really get into where the point of the movie finds its footing and just runs with the rest of the story.
Yeah, like once they get into the
in
actual like adventure through Ireland, it just takes off, and it's a great story.
Sarah Bolger can sing, man.
Yeah,
my lord.
She sounded like a professional singer.
Also, Logan Lerman's a douche.
Obviously,
in this movie,
he is. Yeah,
but that's so unlike other characters he's played before. Like my favorite movie he's ever been is Perks.
He did it very well.
That's what I'm saying. Like in Perks, he plays this kind of like awkward character, and this is just like, yeah, I'm a dick. Like,
right, yeah.
But he plays it so well. But then also there's that caring side, that that side of him that's really his father that sometimes comes out, and he plays that side of it really well as well.
Yeah, I mean, he, like in this movie, he's really battling with himself to like be a better person. Like
Yeah.
you can tell there are experiences he comes across in this movie where he realizes that he doesn't want to be the pompous asshole for the rest of his life, and it's extremely difficult for him to make that change. But like you can see it, you can see the percolations of a change in him.
But some of the things that led him to where he is in that current moment of his life were outside of his control, and that's a part of the movie that like we'll talk about it Friday when we talk spoilers and we really get into this. But that's the point of the movie where everything changes when you find out this little bit of information. The entire complexity of the movie and the dynamic, you understand a lot more. Like, oh Jesus Christ, like that's what was happening. That
Right.
part of it makes a whole lot more sense of why everything is so frayed.
Exactly. Yeah. They eventually tie back all the loose threads into this, beautiful kind of hand-stitched story called End of Sentence. But it does take a little while. But once they get there, the payoff is so meaningful at the end of the movie. And it's,
it sucks that this isn't going to be in theaters, but it's gonna. At least it's gonna be out there for people to see, and hopefully it's something that maybe it doesn't get thrown on Netflix anytime soon, or it somehow picks up steam on the VOD circuit.
This 100% should be distributed through Netflix or Hulu or something, And if you don't go and see this movie just based off of this is like, spoiler-free review, definitely like come back on Friday and when we explain the last scene in this movie and what takes place and where it takes place, you have to, like, at the very least, go see this scene. Like,
not go see it, just watch it at home.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Just having to clarify that blows so much.
Right. Not for much longer, but still for the time being.
Okay, I wanted to ask him, or I want to ask him this, is would it be possible for a movie like this, when everything opens up, is it just too much money to, like, throw it on in a couple theaters across America? Like, are the logistics of that way more difficult than I know?
I'm sure it's more of like a financing thing, right? They've already had, like, whoever financed this movie has already put X amount of dollars into it.
So they're like, just get it out.
They're like, just get it out. We don't want to put in, like, another, like maybe $25,000 to $50,000 to get it distributed to X number of theaters with all the marketing that would entail. So
shit, I'll freaking go crowdfund the money for that. My God, like,
Like
you get what I'm saying. Like I'm being kind of facetious, but like
yeah,
it,
like if they did it, the only way I could see it happening is if they went to like the super small like indie focused film theaters like Angelica.
Like this is the perfect movie.
It's
This is an
literally
Angelica
this
movie.
is an Angelica movie. This is
Like,
the perfect movie for the Angelica theater. So like, and I don't think that would be very hard. Like, just do some very simple like online marketing for it and say, hey, it's gonna be, like you don't have to distribute. Like they even have to
literally
distribute
all
anything.
you have
just
to
like
do
just
is
play the VOD on the screen. Like,
all you have to do is go and put out a couple ads somewhere with Logan Lerman's face and say it's going to be in theaters for like a week or two at select cinemas, and some people are going to go see it.
for sure.
Like people
Yeah.
who see Logan Lerman's name and John Hawk's name are going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'll go check that out." Like that would happen. Would it be as much, pre-corona? But
Probably not, but like and people are so starved to like get out. Like
yeah.
if we went over to a friend's house on Friday, right? And like the
friend's house. The friend's been on the show.
yeah, we went to Garrett's house Friday, and Alex had been talking about going to this theater out that's near his place, and it was like $4, and it's like a combo like bowling alley.
Strike and Reel, I believe is the name.
Yeah,
of
let's
it.
not like say where he lives though.
Yeah.
And I thought this was just gonna be like a shitty theater, but we drove past it and it's like actually very nice, right?
That thing is impressive.
Yeah. Where was I going with this?
Movie theaters.
Anyways, this is where I was going with this. Once I saw that theater, I was like, you know what? I would drive 35 minutes over here just to see a movie.
Yeah,
in the
you would
theaters.
go see a movie there. Like
100%. Like
yeah.
I'm like so ready to go see a movie in the theaters that I would drive out to like fairly far from where we live. Across the Metroplex,
40 minutes away.
Yeah, to see a movie. So people would like if you just hit like a very small demographic but focus to the people that like typically go see movies at the Angelica. Like yeah, I mean you at least bring in a little income and get the exposure this movie deserves.
And get Elfar Adelstein some exposure.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Kills it directing this movie.
Right, and it's so amazing. Like we've only seen 2 pieces of work he's done: Sailcloth and this End of Sentence. And there's like a 8-year gap between them almost, right?
Almost exact, yeah, 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, so it's amazing. Like this is the first we're hearing of him, because like if you watch Sailcloth and End of Sentence like back to back like we did, there's no like drop off or like change in quality. Like
no,
it's the exact same style, exact same portrayal of story and emotion, and it's amazing to me that like it's taken him this long to get a project like this and that he doesn't do more of it. But to his like it takes a long time to do these indie films because they're literally at the bottom rung of the pecking order. So yeah, I really hope we see more from him in the future. Like I can't wait.
Well, he has that new one that I was telling you about, Summer Light and Then Comes the Night. So, that's going to be something. It's an adaptation of an Icelandic novel.
Yeah, like highly acclaimed Icelandic novel
from 2005. So
that we'll be reading, by the way. We'll get your review of that, boys.
Of the book?
Yeah,
we're reviewing books now.
And if it's being adapted into a movie, I think we should.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Yeah.
No, but that's going to be something that we'll be looking out for. Hopefully, I think it said they're going to be hoping to put it out next year sometime. So that's going to be something we'll be watching out for.
For sure, absolutely, yeah. So I really like this movie. 4.5 Jindo Max heads out of 5, and yeah, I'm excited to talk to Elfar here.
Well, yeah,
let's get into it.
We are going to talk to him right now, the director of End of Sentence, Elfar Adelstein. We're now joined by the director of the new movie coming out this Friday, End of Sentence. It's Elfar Adelstein's. So thank you for joining us, man.
Pleasure.
So how is it over there in Iceland right now?
It's rainy and it's cold.
So not much has changed the last couple months?
No, but we're rid of COVID-19 mostly, so every cloud is a silver lining.
We take that. It's about to be about 100 degrees here in Texas, so
yeah,
we would take rainy.
Yeah, it's about 90 degrees difference here.
Oh my god, jeez, that's nuts.
Well, maybe 70.
So what have you been up to the past couple of months as all of us have been kind of locked in our homes for an extended period?
I've preparing my next feature. So we are in pre-production now of a film adaptation I wrote from a book called Summerlight and Then Comes the Night. We're shooting in August, so it's an ensemble piece for different stories with 12 leading actors.
Oh wow!
So I've been quite busy with getting that together.
I bet that's
It's been in development for a while, but now it's moving in. As I say, we started to shoot on the 10th of August.
Okay, well, that's awesome that it didn't get delayed at all with everything going on. I mean, it was supposed to start in July.
Yeah. No, social restrictions have mostly been, taken off here, and or we've been relieved of that. So 200 people can come together and in public spaces, and social distancing now is optional. So there are no new cases. There have been no new cases for about 10 days in this country. But it's a small population, so that's a boon. But they have handled this perfectly. Professionals have been on air every day for the past 3 months, and no politicians are intervening. So they left it to the health officials and the police to, navigate us through it, and it's been really, really excellent.
How early did they kind of get y'all on lockdown? Were y'all pretty early in the process, or was it like us where it was way too late?
No, very early in the process, they started isolating, and for 14 days you had to quarantine. So, they were strict on that. They actually mobilized the police to track down every contagion and sort of trace it back. And with all the infections, I think they just missed 10 that they couldn't trace back. So they were really, really prolific in mapping things out. But again, this is a country of 350,000 people compared to 350 million in the US.
Order of magnitude. I mean, but that's good to hear. Hopefully we're past it. So
yeah.
Let's talk about your movie that's coming out on Friday, End of Sentence, starring Logan Lerman, John Hawkes, and Sarah Bolger. Kind of, what got you interested in this project?
Well, the script was brought to me by a mutual friend of Michael Armbruster and mine. Ella Maria Daniels was one of the producers, and she thought we would, make a good fit for this. I read the script. It spoke to me on a fundamental level. I come from an Orthodox background, being raised by my grandparents. So there was something there that I was, willing to meet with Michael, and we hit it off. He's very generous in his collaboration, and I could feel that we could make something that would be personal to both of us, and that was key for me. You don't go on a journey like this for 5-6 years without it being on a personal address. So yeah, we decided to do that. We took a road trip to Ireland, actually.
That's awesome.
And rented a car because first it was set as a US based road movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I said to Michael, I think we should set this as another country, and we went there and hired a small little Japanese rental car. And I think I scared the shit out of him, driving on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, that would scare me.
through over mountains and through valleys. But we had a great time, and the first evening we went to a pub for a meal, and we saw this band playing in the corner, a 3-piece band, doing these beautiful renditions of true Irish songs and all the anecdotes of the loss and the pain that the country had gone through. And we were sold. We knew at that point we were going to set it in Ireland. Then we came back. We worked on the script for a few good months until it felt right for both of us, and we were on our way.
When you talked about it was going to be an American road trip, but obviously you changed that to an Irish road trip. Why did you choose Alabama for the start? Was that kind of like how it was always going to start off the movie?
Yeah, that was in the script. So I didn't have a particular view on that. Okay. But, choosing Ireland, I wanted to be more of a fish out of water story. And them being unfamiliar with the Irish country was perfect. And the mother having associations with it, I thought brought another dimension. Neither John nor Logan had been to Ireland before, which was a great plus. So they were kind of surprised to, with what they saw, and it was, all kind of revealed itself throughout the process. So that fit in story terms quite well. But I sometimes say Ireland has a crooked smile. It's been through a lot through the ages, and they still manage to smile and sing and drink Guinness. And I think that's a perfect setting for a film like this. Because the two of them have a crooked smile.
Yeah, I mean, some of the shots of Ireland and just like the countryside were amazing. And so
about like 30 minutes into it, we were like, whose job was it to drive around Ireland and find these shots off the top of a cliff or like, behind a valley and whatnot? Like,
was that you? Okay.
It was your own personal road trip through Ireland.
Yeah.
Did you kind of know, like on that first?
So yeah, we had to solve a lot of these things, on the hoof.
Well, and you said in an interview last year at the at RIFF that they were driving on the wrong side of the road. Like that whole concept of taking them out of their element and putting them quite literally on the wrong side of the road and kind of their life. What was it like just making that message and crafting that message, and how important was that to you?
Well, I mean, going back to the Irish landscape, I had no interest in making a postcard of Ireland. That's been done before, and I didn't think it would suit the purpose of this film or the mise en scène. So, that was, it had to be rough and dangerous and ugly at some points.
Yep.
Coupled with the beautiful. And the element of driving on the wrong side of the road, of course, you don't want to push that too hard, but it adds a level of unfamiliarity and uncomfortableness to the story.
Even
which
down to
I think
like the car reservations, where they had to get the special reservation for the automatic, and because just stick was kind of standard over there, so that level of detail was really cool.
No, but you talked about John Hawkes,
Yeah, how early in the project did y'all bring him on board? Because like when you watch the movie, it's almost like you can't really imagine anyone else playing this role. It's one of those portrayals where John Hawkes, I don't know if he gets typecast as this or it's just in his character, but like out of Deadwood and several other of his characters, the very similar depth of emotion and kind of like
almost that naivety.
Yeah, but like a real, if you look at him, he seems kind of like a shallow character, but as you dive deeper into his story, it's very deep and emotional. So like I can't really imagine any other actor playing that character.
Yeah. So how early on was John brought onto this project?
He was the first actor to be brought onto the project, and he was the top of my list. So it was, a really blessing to the project that he liked it and he wanted to come on board. It spoke to him, the role and the setting of the film. He was drawn to Frank because of his, I suppose, his inefficiency and the way that he was broken, and trying to punch his way through life maybe with the wrong tools. But I was a huge fan of John's. Saw the sessions, and I liked, he played Joe Albany, the heroin addict, also in Lowdown, which is a beautiful film. So I liked that soft side of him and the emotional side. And John as an actor is really acute to his surroundings and has a great understanding of both scripts and the environment that he works in. So it was just great to get to work with him. But I approached him initially because I was a huge fan of his work.
And he got to punch a cop, so it was. Sorry, disclaimer, real fast. So.
Yeah. So the cat came flying off.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, the cops.
There was some good action in this movie for like it being.
Yeah, an emotional.
Like a dramatic narrative.
But I mean, I love that scene so much. Yeah. And Sarah Bolger, you get to that pub scene, and it obviously mirrors that first road trip that you guys took. did you, when you know, casted her or met her, did you know she could sing that well? Because in that moment when she starts singing, we just looked at each other. We were like, is this real? Like, is she
Yeah, we tried
actually?
to figure out
And
for about 5-10 seconds, like,
yeah,
is this dubbed over? And like
yeah,
you
and
could
then
really tell
yeah,
about halfway through, like, no, this is her singing.
I know this. It's a great question. Do you know what? I didn't,
okay,
and the music is performed live in the scene. So we have playback with the live music, but she sings on set, 3 takes, that song pitch perfect, and we were just standing there gobsmacked. You know, she had a voice of an angel, and that's one of these beautiful gifts, surprises that you sometimes get on set, and that was one of them. And it's one of my favorite scenes in the film. And she was, you know, again, she had a voice of an angel.
There's 3 or 4 scenes in the movie that like really just grabs you emotionally, like, and that's one of them. Another one is where John Hawk's character is coming out. He had just left his wife's ashes on the, server's cart, and gets in his car and like just
breaks down.
loses it.
Oh.
Yeah. What was like filming that like, and like what was the preparation for him to get into that place, and like how do you direct that scene?
We talked about it just a little bit before, and I mean, you never know what's going to happen. But we did 3 takes of that, and that was it. You know, because we didn't need any more. It was real every time that he did it, but different every time that he did it. So I suppose that he took some personal time to set himself in the right emotional state. Stepped into the car and rolled camera. But I think a scene like that is percolating for a long good time within the actor, and it's a hard scene to film for it to be and feel real. He's very exposed at that time as the character, and John is very much in character. Through the duration of the shoot, he's all in, as you would say, in very simplistic terms.
There's a lot had happened to him up to that point.
You start to see it in the beginning where it's like, how much can this guy take? Like, he's, his wife is gone, his child's in prison, like he is dealing with so much, and so the entire movie builds to that moment, and it's an incredible thing to watch. It's an incredible movie, and I'm really excited to see how it does. But you did another short film back in 2012, Sailcloth, with John Hurt, that was actually on the Academy Award shortlist. What was it like working with John Hurt?
It was absolutely amazing. I sent him the script. I mean, on a whim. I had no contact with him. I sent it to his, and there was no dialogue. John was usually hired for his gravelly voice and his big presence. And a week later, his agent called me and says, "John wants to meet you at the Soho House in London." And I thought,
that's awesome.
I was being auditioned. And I met him, and I was supposed to get a half an hour with him, but we sat there for almost 2 hours. And at the end of the meeting, and he said, "Elfar, let's go make a film." And he was, he tested me the first day, but after the second day, we were on the ocean. I went to shake his hand, thank him for the day, and he gave me this big hug. And after that, he was extremely supportive. We became friends, and it was you couldn't write it. And that was one of my big fortunes in life, having someone like him sort of warm to my work, being warm to my work, and accepting me as a director.
When you mentioned that there was the no dialogue part, about halfway through, we realized, there's going to be no dialogue through this. Was that a choice when you first wrote it, that it was like, obviously there's going to be no dialogue in this, you just wanted to paint this picture? Or, what was kind of the idea behind having no dialogue in this short film?
Well, I mean, the whole thing kind of came to me. It was after I was raised by my grandparents. So when my grandfather died, he was a very strong individual. He passed away in a nursing home and he had dementia. So he kind of withered away. And that was the last thing he wanted. So I think subconsciously I wrote him an alternative exit. And that's my plan. And it just didn't need any dialogue. And the idea is that after it came to me, I said, I need to draw this. I can't really write it down. So I just wanted it to be a visual poem to him, in a sense.
Okay.
And that's how I approached it and sent it off to the old master.
You had your grandfather stealing a boat from the nursing home.
It's such a cool story. Like, if you just watch this and like don't try to deep dive into it, you'll be like, this is kind of shitty, like what's happened here. But like, I mean, if you truly understand the arc, like it's a beautiful story. It's what you want, like, at the end of life. And like you said, like, you don't want to be in a home
withering away.
Yeah, like one of his last moments was like waving to the child on the beach, like,
and being both, out on the boat.
Right.
It's such a beautiful. And if people want to watch it, it's at berserkfilms.com/sailcloth. So
I would definitely recommend it. If you enjoy Independent Sentence, you will understand this and enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, my son played the little boy. I mean, he's grown up now, but
really?
For a reason, it was my son who was waving. But yeah, I mean, John Hurt said, you don't want to be thrown out with a hospital trash. So
yeah,
he actually said that.
As the shell of a man. And, but he showed it to his brother, who was a priest, a Catholic priest, and where taking your own life is a cardinal sin. So, on a metaphysical level, I think it appealed to him, this notion that we own our destiny, but it's not as simple as that. But I don't think I ever looked at it that way. It was just an allegory for me of sort of the great last journey.
Right. Well, we were going to ask about Summer Light and Then Comes the Night, but it looks like you guys are going to start filming that in August. Are there any other projects that you're going to be working on here in the near future?
Yeah, I have one project that I might want to do down south, go back to Alabama or even further south, in New Orleans,
come to Texas.
And that might manifest itself, and that's a completely different animal, that film. And I have one British project that I'm working on alongside, but who knows? These things takes a long time to develop and get together, the finances and all the political, stuff surrounding it. But I think it probably depends on how this next one goes.
Right.
Well, hey,
you're only as good as your last film, right?
Yeah. Sorry for jumping back and forth, but I forgot to ask in the beginning, like, what was the experience like going from this was supposed to be a theatrical release to video on demand? Like, just can you kind of walk us through how that experience went, since just was completely unprecedented times that we've gone through, and what are your thoughts behind it?
Yeah, it's disappointing, obviously. I mean, there's romanticism with screening in theaters across America. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, really. But this is a situation, these are unprecedented times, so it's beyond one's control. So you kind of just have to accept it. I mean, the theme of End of Sentence is acceptance, so I guess it's a part of the journey, just to accept what's ahead. But, we're working with Gravitas, and they've been great, and we're premiering on iTunes and Amazon. So, people are downloading and at home watching video on demand. So, it is what it is. But I would have loved, of course, to hit the big screen for a couple of weeks. But, in this environment, you just take it on the chin and work with, what's available.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a lot of this movie in a theater with the landscape shots and just the Irish countryside. But, at least we're living in a time where it can get out to everybody. You know, if it had been the 90s, it
Yeah.
would have been a little bit different to distribute on VHS or whatever. But, you know, fortunately, we have the capability to, you have the capability to get it out there. So that's good at least.
Yeah, it's more of an immersive experience, more visceral to see it on screen. You know, even for a small indie like this, it's just always better. You know, and I feel a difference when I see it.
Well, we're going to be telling everybody about End of Sentence coming out this Friday, and if you're ever going to be doing something in Texas, let us know, and we'll get you some brisket while you're here. So we appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you so much for your time as well, and stay safe.
Hey, you too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Cheers.
That was our interview with Elfar Adelstein talking about his new movie coming out Friday, End of Sentence. It's going to be on VOD. You can catch it on iTunes or Amazon, so definitely go and watch that. We just want to thank him for taking the time to talk with us.
Yeah, it was a great interview, great dude, and can't wait to see what else he comes up with over the next couple of years. So, and that movie that he's gonna start producing or start production on in August. So should be ready sometime next year. So it was just super cool. It only got delayed like maybe a week or two, right? Yeah, like maybe not at all. So that's great. Very excited to see him do that and see the reception of End of Sentence. So we're excited for that. So thank you guys for listening to this, and check back here on Friday for our spoiler talk of End of Sentence. Yep, we'll get deep into End of Sentence.